Where you really see the beauty of a molding is when it turns an outside corner where you see its profile. Now, look at this piece of trim. See how much difference it makes when you can see the outside corner of the profile? One of the first places I had that shown to me was making miter return pieces for an apron under a window. Let me show you how you do that. You take your piece of trim and cut it under to 45, and then you come back and make a cut right there. This would be like where the saw blade is, so all that's left is just the part that's 45ing back. Now this piece is a piece for an apron under a window. Sometimes you'll see people get lazy and they'll just cut this like at about a 5 or 6 degree angle, and it just doesn't look any good. But what I do is take these small pieces, now I'm going to put them right back in there like that with a little bit of glue, and it makes it look like the trim just came and turned and ran back in the wall, which is called a miter return. And these are especially delicate because it's such a small piece. That's why it's a great thing to have a headless pinner to install these with. Back before I had a headless pinner, we'd probably break about half the pieces trying to get them put in. Sometimes we'd just wedge them in there with glue and not nail them. But it's much better to be able to nail them like this. I'll put this nail down through from the face a little bit. Okay, now we'll just flip it around. Do the other end. Again, a little bit of glue. And there's lots of applications for miter returns. Sometimes we'll use these we get into a tricky spot on baseboard, sometimes even on crown molding. But it's always a great look when you can see the profile of the molding when it turns the corner. Now here's the finished piece. Let's nail it in place. I determined the length this needed to be by measuring the outside of the casing trim to the outside of the casing trim. And now what I want to do is just line it up like so and nail it. There you go. What a great finished look. This is the only air tool that my painters really love, and here's why. There's a lot of times when we're putting small moldings on after things are partially finished, and on stain work, headless pins are so small that they don't have to go back and fill the holes. Base shoe is a great example. We'll have the house almost totally done, the painters may even be gone, and then when we sand the floors and go back and put the base shoe down, if we use headless pins, they don't have to come back and fill any nail holes. This little piece is wrapping around this newel post, which has already been stained. I'm going to put a little glue in the joints, and I'm also going to nail another mitered return piece on. It's a really small mitered return piece. You can barely even tell where those holes are. And especially you can see down on the floor where you had to really look down at it, you'd never see it at all. Okay, now I'm going to put just one little headless pin in there, hold it till the glue dries. So again, headless pins are great. The smaller the moldings, the more critical it is to be using a headless pinner.